Mike Brown had another outburst. Similar, I guess, at least similar, it seems, in strategy probably coming from him to the outburst he had in Toronto last December. And I think it worked to a certain degree last year. They pulled out the win in Toronto, and I think they won the final game of their road trip and technically 2 of their next 3 following that. But they didn't win in Milwaukee. There were factors, obviously, with Mike Brown's concerns with the consistency of the referees and the officials. He obviously, to the news of everyone around the league, basically brought out his laptop in the post-game presser and pointed out the inconsistencies. And that's all fine and dandy. And, he clearly ate, I think, $50,000 because of that in terms of a fine. And that's all good, like an attorney doing a closing argument. I thought that was funny that he had the laptop out there. But everything in the way he responded to that situation felt shrouded in desperation. It sounds like he knows he's running out of answers with this roster. What more can he do? I mean, you could sense it in the post-game presser that he is frustrated, and we've never seen him like that before, at least in his time with the Kings. It just seems like there's an amount of desperation in that he's kind of recognized that the roster, as it stands now, as he shrinks the rotation over the last 2 games, he's only played 9 guys. I think he's kind of hit a wall with what he can do with this roster. It really underlines the fact that this team just is not going to get where they want to go as they stand now and as it's constructed right now.
I think he has seen that, and I think we all kind of knew that going into the season, or we at least talked about it early on this year, especially the defense. I mean, I think that's the biggest topic, is that if the Kings want to hold their hat on something, they're going to have to hold it on defense. If the threes aren't falling, if their offense isn't clicking, they're getting figured out a little. I mean, we've said it since the beginning with this defensive change where it's like they really want to push that more, which Brown has every right to do. They just don't have the personnel to do it. And I think you're right. He's running out of answers or ways he can push his team to be better.
The defense is a great point on your end, because think about it. I think it was in the Detroit game and the Hornets game and even maybe the Pelicans game before that, he tried going a little bit more to some defenders. Obviously, he tried to go with Duarte. Duarte kind of played himself out. He kind of ran into some foul issues again. And also, it's not like he was performing very well on the offensive end. It still seems like he's a little uncertain of things. Like when you see Kevin Huerter in the offense, things are a lot more seamless. His decision-making is a lot more decisive. But he tried Duarte. That didn't really work out the way it potentially could have, though that's probably not to anyone's major surprise. He tried to use Juan Toscano-Anderson a lot more. You even saw him go to Colby Jones a little bit. But now over the last couple of games, he's again shrunk the rotation to 9 guys. He's not going to Keon Ellis or Colby Jones off the bench. He's usually sticking just to Monk as the backup point guard, which with that and the fact that Vezenkov has been included in this 9-man rotation, I mean, this is him resorting to what the Kings' strengths are right now, which is offense is their best bet, which I think is a pretty clear implicit admission that he just doesn't have that roster that can do what he wants defensively. And that, again, only underlines the fact that the Kings, probably this trade deadline, or at the very least, I guess, in the offseason, though you don't really want to have to phone it in for the rest of this year and have a first or second round exit or whatever. But at some point in the near future, with the clock beginning to tick in terms of a championship window, they're going to have to make a move.